Well, we ready?
Let's go.
All right. Well, Matt Williams, Luxor, thank you for showing up, man. I'm very excited about this one because I think the derivatives market's a huge deal for the mining space. So, yeah, you run the show over there.
Yeah, the derivative show anyway.
Yeah, that's good though, man. It's a big deal. So, thank you for coming.
Yeah,
we're excited to have it. That one looks kind of loose too. If it is, just tighten it up on the. Oh, there we go. We're good.
It's got OCD. It's coming in here on unscrewing things.
Oh man, we're good.
So you brought us a gift. What's the story behind this?
Okay.
You said, hey, I brought you the worst thing I could possibly imagine. Just like, thank you, Matt. Thank you so much.
Well, I was thinking about it. I want to bring you guys a gift. I'm like, I don't want to bring Italian beef here, and I'm not going to bring a pizza or a hot dog. So I was like, all right, Chicago's known for Malort.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So for the longest time, you could only get Malort in Chicago. It's a Swedish liqueur.
All right. What would you compare it to?
I don't. There's like a lot of people that try and compare it to things. There's actually a commercial where a guy takes a shot and he's like, "Oh man, this tastes like getting picked on at the third grade." So he's like, "Man,
can't wait. Pour me a big glass, man."
Let's get a try. You said there's this whole thing where you see people's reaction.
Yeah.
So I'm like so stoked.
We should do one at a time.
We should. There's a concept of Malort face, and afterwards, like Google it, you'll see
Malort face.
Yeah, there's all these shots of people post Malort shot.
All right.
It's kind of like a rite of passage.
Chicago culture.
Yeah.
To Houston, man.
I figured.
It's exciting. All right, who's going first?
Well, one of you two should probably go first.
All right, Justin, I'll nominate you.
All right, I'll go first.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys. To
So if you're watching on video, you can see our faces.
Right.
Obviously, there's an audio component.
Just down.
Just go for it, man. Yeah.
All right.
Just cowboy.
Removing my gun.
Yeah.
With the full effect.
You'll get it no matter what.
Full Malort to the face.
Yeah. Just getting Malorted. All right.
Yeah, just cowboy.
And what does it taste like to you?
It tastes basically like getting picked on in third grade. I'd say it tastes good.
Yeah.
Like,
it stays with you for a while.
I was just going to say there's a weird aftertaste that is continuing to stay in my mouth.
Yeah. It's a lingering effect.
Yeah. And it's kind of like a little bit of a flavored rubbing alcohol aftertaste.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I didn't say it was a good flavored rubbing alcohol, but
that's a good Malort face. I like it.
Confusion. Like
totally.
A little bit of confusion wrapped up in there.
Yeah. I heard it's like tastes like a product of a gypsy curse.
It tastes like I shouldn't be drinking this.
It's right. Yeah. It tastes like I need to see if there's like a skull and crossbones on the back.
Yeah, like I just broke into the cleaning cabinet. Right. And I took out you know what it tastes like? It tastes like what I imagine wood cleaner.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Tastes for your grandma's old nice antique stuff, and like she's like shine it.
Yeah,
that's stuff.
Maybe like acetone if I drink
acetone too. Yeah,
it's better than that. It's like a acetone mix with like herbs.
Right, you're right. It's like
I don't know why anybody would ever drink that. That's awful.
I don't either.
It's gonna be a thing now. I'm just gonna I'm gonna use the rest of the bottle just to torture people who come on.
I'll send you a whole
Lord faces.
Oh God,
it's not expensive.
I believe you. I believe you. Oh. I like that you left the price tag on it too. That's I do that when
pay you to take it.
I'm gonna have to. There's a whole backstory to this bottle that I'm embarrassed to tell. So I went over to my buddy's bar before I came over here, and he had a bunch of them. Like, I'm gonna bring one to these guys, show them Chicago.
He's like, "You're a terrible friend."
He's like,
"Wow, what a dick! They're never gonna want to come to Chicago."
He's like, "You better wrap it up, if you're gonna check in your bag." I'm like, "Nah, it's fine. I'll throw in a t-shirt. No big deal." So I get here, and I go get in my hotel, and I, unwrap it. And I'm like, "Oh, it's fine." Pick it up, drop it, shatters all over the floor. Okay, so I'm like, "Crap! Like, I brought this from Chicago. Now I got nothing. My whole story's shot." And so I started calling around in Houston to see if anyone carries it. And sure enough, there's like this podunk like wine place like 15 minutes away. So I'm like, I'm doing it. I got in a cab and went and got it. So this one's actually from Houston. So
did you like burn a hole in the carpet?
Oh, dude, it was like
like bleach. Did it like bleach everything out?
Yeah, there was like a whole spirit that emanated into the ether.
It tastes like it should be in a plastic bottle, is what I would have guessed,
I feel like this is single-handedly responsible for all the emissions in Chicago.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. That, like,
Couple
now I
of
understand the crime problem in Chicago. You know what I mean? This probably has something to do with Malort.
Yeah, I think we could do a whole podcast.
We could just talk about Malort.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
bringing
Now
staffers
I
in here.
feel- Yeah, I feel like I need to go have, like, what is the Giordano's?
Giordano's.
Yeah.
Giordano's, yeah.
Some pizza and
Yeah.
spaghetti.
You want Illuminati's though.
That's better?
And then there's this whole thing called the Chicago Handshake. So the Chicago Handshake is a shot of Malort and an old style tall boy.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
So that's what you gotta have.
Are you from Chicago
Yeah.
originally? Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
are you a Cubs guy?
Oh yeah.
Dude, I'm a huge St. Louis Cardinals guy.
Oh, I'm sorry.
still I respect you.
How's
I
Wilson
like it.
Contreras working out for you guys?
I like Wilson Contreras.
Yeah, I
That's
like
a
him
huge
too.
pickup.
I'm gonna do this shot too while you're talking.
All right. Also, Jordan Walker. I'm really impressed with that dude. He's gonna be a freaking baller. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, we don't have to go into all that. Cardinals suck right now. So no pitching. It's freaking terrible. But and I'm partial to the Astros now. I've been down here long enough that I can. I've despite their history with the Cards, I pull from a little bit. They're in the American League now, so
I don't even root for the White Sox.
yeah, I know. I don't blame you. That's different.
Does it feel like we haven't done this in a long time?
It does feel like
It feels like an eternity.
this has
Has it been a while?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
been a
yeah. You're the
Oh, really?
first show
because we did a ton.
right.
We just
Our-
put one out like yesterday, didn't you?
Right,
We
we
batched-
recorded that at Empower, yeah.
Yeah.
We did 3 right before Empower, and then we did a couple at
Mhm.
Empower, and so then we didn't have to do it every single week.
Got it. You double up with Lisa too, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
She moderated a panel at the Bitcoin Ski Summit that I was on.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
this is great.
Yeah.
She's awesome. There's been some weird comments on Twitter about that episode. Like, I'm like, wow, that's really...
So what were some of the comments?
It's like comments
Spill the
about
tea.
her aesthetically and all this. I'm like, man,
Mayorga?
Bitcoin space has...
Or Lisa?
Lisa. It might have been about both. I don't know. They're both attractive women and
Lisa's a
very
coug.
knowledgeable.
She's a coug, man.
Yeah.
You know.
They're intelligent, they're well spoken, and they do such a good job talking about it too. That's like,
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of guys, the Bitcoin space is dominated by males right now, and but it's
Heavily
nice,
dominated.
heavily dominated.
Yeah.
So, when
That's also intimidating to a lot of guys
Right,
too.
right.
You think?
right, I do think so.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
but,
There's a lot of basement nerds in this
right.
space.
There
too,
is,
so-
there is.
Hey, but we got some
Basement nerds.
big, timely news. I want to give you props on the TPO.
Oh yeah, dude. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah.
What are the high level details? I know you've been working on that for like a long time.
Long
It's like
time.
it's a big thing, huge success for you. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for you.
Thank you, bro.
So I want to give you
Appreciate
props.
it. I wasn't even thinking about it, but yes, thank you. Closed a large deal with Mawson Infrastructure Group, a group out of Singapore touring, and they got different shareholders from kind of all over the place, Canada, Singapore, all over the place. 120 megawatts. It is literally the same deal I put together last year and got closed. So it's kind of funny. I closed the same deal twice in 1 year, but both of them
Twice as fun.
yeah, twice as long. So, I've been working on that for months, and thank God I finally got that thing done because that was eating up literally probably like 90% of my work time. So, they are planning on having it online in the next 8 weeks,
Oh, that's
really,
awesome.
really quickly. So, and they're legit. I mean, they built a good team of people. I think one of their guys has built over a gigawatt worth of data centers over the last 5-6 years. So
Wow.
he's very, very experienced. And and I'm excited because I want TPL to have a good experience with that. Just because I think it's such a good story for the oil and gas market to have a group like TPL, oldest publicly traded group I think in the country. Something
really?
like that. Yeah.
Okay.
And $20+ billion market cap.
Yeah.
They're legit.
Yeah.
And for them to embrace Bitcoin mining on their property and as a revenue stream, it could do a lot for other oil and gas companies.
It's a great narrative.
Right.
Yeah.
Very, very good. So
So do they lease? Is it leasing the land or is
It's
it,
leasing the
they also
land.
have energy assets?
they have a component. Well, so the substations were situated on their property along with
Okay.
another group. But TPL, biggest name in there for sure. They have a component in there where they can participate in the deal as well on the mining side of it. So that's where I don't know if they're going to end up doing that or not. I hope they do, just because I think Touring has really put together a good team that can execute on that and really make it a very attractive opportunity. but also just to see TPL, like, even if they don't participate, they're recognizing the like value in leasing property for specifically for Bitcoin mining. Like, that's the only purpose it's for. And so, yeah, I think it's a really good signal for, I don't know, the rest of the oil and gas industry to recognize this is like legitimate. It's not some pie in the sky bullshit. It's a legitimate revenue stream that is going to be coming into them.
Is this their own idea, or is this pitched to them, or?
I mean, I'm not going to try to toot my own horn, but yeah, I put that whole thing together.
Good.
I started in like May or June of 21.
Oh, very cool.
And so got it closed in May of 22 with them and Mawson and all them. Mawson contacted me about, when I left Jay, which was not very long after I closed that deal, but obviously the market dynamics changed a lot.
Yeah.
They shifted their strategy to focusing on Pennsylvania. And that this asset became something that was, something they wanted to kind of sell and, be able to kind of put all their assets and eggs in the Pennsylvania basket. So, and it was a complicated deal, admittedly, because there were so many parties involved, and there's a lot of groups that, I don't know, have their own interest in there. And so trying to wrangle everybody like a herding cats was a freaking challenge. But honestly, man, TPL, like, I don't know, they're a big company, but they move really quickly for the size that they are. I mean, they're a $20+ billion market cap company. That's
massive.
Right. It's a big company. And for them to like, they're just very accommodating, dude. I've worked with them off and on over the years on different things. Like when I was in land at Anadarko, we did a lot of stuff with them. And sometimes they had a rap of like, not being real commercial and just slowing things down. They've been great. Like every interaction I've ever had with them has been wonderful. And, give a shout out to like Kevin Pierce and Brian May and some of the other people over there that have really just kind of made sure to do what we needed to do to make sure the deal got done in time. I was like really appreciative of like their trust, number one, but the ability to like understand the need to get this thing off the ground and like move things around. So I want to see it be a success. I'm hoping to continue doing some work with touring, which they've talked to me about doing some of that with them. So I can kind of help make sure we facilitate and get it operational over the next 8 weeks. So I'm excited, man. It's good. Thank you. I appreciate that. But
yeah, absolutely.
And we started Quarry Advisors, which is, I definitely need to get this plug in there for myself, but it's basically an advisory company for miners to kind of find assets and assets to find miners. And we're kind of trying to facilitate that going forward, because it is something that I think is really needed, is a more formalized and professional type of organization that like knows how to put deals together, knows how to kind of get them from, a conversation to a closing in a reasonable amount of time and in a professional way. I think there's a lot of people, and I'm not trying to rip on anybody, but like there's a lot of just really loose kind of gunslinger shit that goes on in this space. And like it needs to be formalized and more professional for the institutional capital to want to come in.
Oh, 100%.
Like they're not going to do shit the way it's been done, where it's like, oh, I know there's an asset over here I know about, but you got to pay me X, Y, Z if you want to know about it. And it's just, and they're not really doing anything other than just talking about it. They don't know how to put a deal together, or like even a data room to like, you know what I mean? So
100%.
It's just, it needs to be formalized and more professional.
It's bringing a level of professionalism to the Bitcoin miners.
Right. So
it's legitimizing it.
Legitimizing.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's a legit business venture, and I think that you guys are the tip of the spear with the experience and the level of deals that you guys put together. I don't think you guys have a moat. Nobody's going to come
appreciate
that.
It's me and Brandon Martin.
I'm not getting paid for this, by the way. I'm just over here.
Hey,
just giving you props.
I appreciate it, man. We'll see if we can cut you in somehow.
But I mean, I'll get paid for it. I mean, pay.
But yeah, it's exciting. So we got a website, thequarry.io. Yeah, check it out. We got some sites we're putting up, and we got some more sites coming in that we're gonna be putting up. Site in Oklahoma, Ohio. Got a lot we got coming on that I think between those two, just that's 230 megawatts of new opportunities.
Jeez.
that counting some other ones we got coming up.
That's a lot.
So yeah. We've closed in the last year about, keep bragging on myself, sorry man, but like 360 megawatts worth of deals. So we're making some progress, right, on that stuff.
Some size.
Yeah, I'm fired up about it, man. We'll keep going.
We'll have to talk to him about hash rate.
Right. Hell, that's the other. Yes, we need to talk about that because I do think that's where, honestly, a lot of stuff can work together. And because people don't know about it, which is why you're here. Kind of give us the scoop on it. And
So Luxor's you're the first time that we've had somebody on for the third time. Well, not you, but Luxor as a whole.
First company.
Yeah, first company that's
repeat.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, man. A lot of
so no pressure.
Well, that's why I brought the
trying to get us all drunk before I'm about to take another shot of that shit. I don't know why, but
that's what it does to you.
Yeah, I just want to take another one.
We've got really good tasting stuff.
Right. Yeah, we mix it out. Is this something you can mix?
You can do whatever you want, brother.
Yeah, it's our show. We can do whatever.
Yeah, you sure can.
But yeah, so Matt, tell us your background.
Yep.
And then I want to go into like what the derivatives kind of platform that Luxor's put together, because I think we both recognize like how big that is and important for the industry. And I know there's still going to be things that grow from it, but yeah, we'll want to hear all about it. So can you tell us your background and what made you get into this space, number one, but after that, we'll go into the kind of where you're at.
Okay. Yeah, cool. Well, first of all, thanks for having me and getting a chance to talk about it. So my background, I was in the derivative space pretty much my whole career, like literally right out of high school. I was 18. I went to clerk for my uncles down on the board of trade floor. My dad was a trader. My two uncles, both my grandparents, traders. So started off that way, clerking between summers at college. And then I got my first trading gig out in New York on the NYMEX floor, trading WTI and then Henry Hub Nat Gas. Started off actually still on the floor and then moved to electronic trading. Spent a number of years as a trader. Did a stint at a software company that built market making software for options traders, and then went to work for CME Group. And that's kind of how I got immersed in the digital asset space. So
when you were at CME, were you doing anything with their like Bitcoin futures contracts and all that?
Yeah. So I started off on the corporate strategy side of things, and then we had a small group that focused on fintech. And in fintech at that time, it was like 2017, was all digital asset stuff. Mm-hmm. So we had a digital asset team that kind of looked at, we actually had this big project with the Royal Mint. We were trying to digitize gold. My CME friends are going to hate me for this, but it was a colossal failure. Just like it was absolute catastrophe. But that led to other things, right? Like they made investments in Ripple and DCG and some blockchain companies, and then naturally started looking at Bitcoin futures. And at the time, there was 3 exchanges that were all trying to look at Bitcoin futures. There was ICE and CME and CBOE. And it was kind of like a race to who's first. CBOE actually beat us by like a week. And then we launched like a week later, and pretty much the only one that survived. ICE relaunched something later. But yeah, we were part of that team. It was pretty interesting at the time. Like my team would go and talk to like, the institutionals in the space, and we'd go and, talk to them about potentially trading Bitcoin futures. And we go in there and we go in with charts, and like, I guess you're not gonna be able to see this if you're listening, but the chart would look like a hockey stick,
right?
Straight up. And like, we'd go from meeting to meeting and the chart would be outdated because Bitcoin was just ripping.
Right.
And so these people we would go are these, old bankers and like old institutional people. And they're like, what the hell is this? It's like a Ponzi scheme, right? And so it was like every meeting we went to, it's just Bitcoin 101, like just like Bitcoin 101 for like your grandparents.
Mm.
And so that was interesting. But yeah, like it was super fun. Like I learned a ton, kind of really got into the space. And then when my last couple of years at CME, I was on the venture team, a corporate venture capital arm. And through that, I got to sit on the board of a blockchain company called Exoni, and really just kind of got immersed through that way. And then spent a couple of years on the venture team, and then did 2 years at a regulator. So I went to the National Futures Association, helped them on their technology stack, and then joined Luxor in May of last year. So it was, I was really still interested in the digital asset space, wanted kind of a challenge, wanted to go work for a up and coming startup. It was, I was very into Bitcoin at the time and just kind of wanted to try something different.
Mm-hmm.
So I talked to Nick and Ethan and Guzman and Eddie at the Luxor team, and they were like, hey, we have this idea about launching hash rate derivatives. we felt that the spaces needed it for a couple of years, but just, we want to do it. We just need someone that can do it. Someone with a regulatory background and has launched products before.
So how did they find out about you? Were you looking for something in Bitcoin?
I was looking for something in Bitcoin. We ended up having a couple mutual acquaintances. There's a exchange called Binomial that's invested in Luxor, and I ended up talking to their CEO, and he was pitching me on Luxor, and I was kind of, to be honest, I was telling him when I was doing the interview, I was like, this is really hard to do. Launching a market is fucking hard, and doing it with the exchange behind you, it's hard. Doing it, as a standalone, startup mining company, it's going to be exponentially harder. But
what are the challenges that are involved in starting a market?
How much time do you have?
We got plenty.
Explain 15.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, I can make it easy. Number one is, regulatory, right? How do you do this in a regulated way where, the people that are interacting with the markets can trust it and trust Luxor, and do it in a way that the CFTC is not going to come down on you, or the SEC for that matter. So there's one. Two, how do you build liquidity? How do you get buyers and sellers in this? And we were talking about this earlier, the thesis behind this was miners needed a hedging instrument to hedge their hash rate risk. Well, if you only have hedgers, right, in the market, you're just going to have a bunch of sellers, and there's just going to be sell side pressure, no market. So you got to figure out a way to get diverse participants in there. So for that, you got to figure out who the buyers are, who the natural buyers are, who's going to want exposure to hash rate. Do hedge funds want to play in here? Do market makers, stuff like that. And
who have you found? Sorry.
No, please.
Who have you found to be the natural buyers?
Yeah. So some of this, we had a hypothesis around, and some just kind of came naturally. But to be honest, miners are buyers.
Really?
If you want more exposure to hash rate, you go along this.
Okay.
We've seen people that are,
Is that what you anticipated being? Because I don't think I would have guessed that, but that makes sense when you say it.
It's a yes, but not for the same reason that we uncovered. For me, miners always want to be long, and longer Bitcoin, right? So to me, this is just longer exposure.
Yeah.
Right? But the truth is that miners, they could be buying ASICs, but having a hard, for a while you couldn't find hosting.
Yeah.
But you wanted that temporary exposure. So you could buy hash rate, and if you think Hashprice is going to rip, this is a good instrument for it. Another one that we found, which we weren't smart enough to think of on our own, came to us is hosting facilities. If you're a hosting facility and you owe miners, Hashprice, but you're curtailing, right? Let's say it's more profitable to sell back to the grid. You still owe them, and you're exposed to a run in Hashprice. Well, you could buy this instrument.
That makes sense. That makes, I didn't think of that either, but
that was a nice one to learn.
That's a great product, and I didn't think about that at all.
Yeah, no, it's been good. And cloud miners have come to us wanting to use it for a long exposure, pretty much for the same reason as hosting facilities. And then, we've onboarded market makers to this to provide, bids and offers in basically every tenor that we have. And then we're making pretty concerted effort right now to talk to hedge funds, private equity, family offices, and then, ones that already had crypto exposure.
Right.
We could talk about why. For them, having an opinion on difficulty or having an opinion on transaction fees, or, it's an interesting instrument because it's not just Bitcoin price.
Right.
There's a lot more that goes into it that gives you alpha, as they say.
It's so cool to see how quickly the space is evolving. Think about whenever we were sitting by the fire at New Wave and we were like, we're talking about mining, and we're like, yeah, but there's no way to hedge it.
Right.
And we were racking our brains over some whiskey of what does this look like? And
a lot of whiskey. Oof.
You tried to fight the short guy.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I'm not that guy either, but apparently I did. So
yeah, it all comes down to hedging, though, right? To me, what's interesting about this space is, you're getting more and more people from.
Thank you for skipping over the story about me trying to fight.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. I didn't know.
No, I'm glad you didn't. I don't like it.
It's embarrassing.
Oh man, I feel bad now.
No, I'm happy. Go ahead.
Are you sure?
I'm very, very, very happy. Continue.
All right, we'll come back to it.
No, we don't have to. Okay. We're good.
We can close out the show. I love to tell it.
He does. So continue. My bad.
No, it's cool, man. I was only going to say, to me, what's been interesting in the year that I've been here, amongst all the interesting stuff that's happened in the last 12 months, is, you see more and more energy people coming into the space, and that, they come with robust hedging strategies and expectations for hedging. Whereas this space, it's still a very new space, right? It's a nascent market, and it's, not going to sugarcoat it, but no one was hedging, right? They weren't hedging their Bitcoin price, they weren't hedging their energy, they weren't hedging hash rate.
Because it was only going up, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Until it wasn't.
Right.
And so now everyone's kind of focused on hedging, and then you bring in the energy folks who already have like sophistication in the derivative space. And it's like, I think it's speeding up the maturity path of the space, in terms of like just risk management. So, I think it's all very positive.
I do too. I think it's huge. We've talked about it many times on here, but it's like, it's the biggest thing to me to make it acceptable to, I always end up going back to institutional folks, but it's almost a requirement for institutional money to come in.
Yeah.
I just don't see any other way that mining will really become completely mainstream as an investment vehicle for groups if there was no hedging opportunity. So it is a huge step in the right direction. I know you guys are still going to be working on ways to expand it and all that, which I do want to hear about if they're, what kind of plans you guys got.
We got plans, buddy.
Yeah, I figured you had. That's one thing I love about Luxor is that you guys are constantly evolving with the industry and coming up with new ways to serve it.
Yeah.
Whether it be miners or retail folks or whatever it is, you guys have a kind of a new platform constantly that you're popping up. But what are some of the ways you guys are wanting to expand on it?
Well, I mean, just to kind of touch on what you said about Luxor, like the way, as I've spent the last year with these guys, the way I look at Luxor in the mining space, they kind of like sit in the middle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you want ASICs, you come to Luxor, right?
Right.
If you want to put those ASICs on a mining pool, you come to Luxor. If you want to hedge those ASICs, you use our derivatives. You want to optimize them, you have firmware, right? It's
right.
Like you have all these things that you can do. So, but for us, like the derivatives team, we wanted to start with this product that we have, which is it's called an NDF. It's a non-deliverable forward cash settle instrument. But it's basically like, you build one market, you build liquidity, and you get participants in there. And then we have this like long ass roadmap of other things we want to do. Like naturally, I think what comes next would be options. There's some demand for physically delivered forwards, which, there's some of those in the space. There's guys like Block Green that are doing that. And then for us, like, it's just keep building out. Like we'd like to we're going through some regulatory applications where we can be basically a one-stop shop for hedging. So if you want to come to Luxor and hedge your BTC price or your hash rate or your energy, we're going to have a desk where you can do all that.
Nice. Have you seen much growth from when you guys launched where it's at now? Like, has it been growing?
Exponential.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we did a beta launch in, October of last year, but it was like limited participants, smaller size, just to kind of get people familiar with it and allow us to iterate. And we did a relaunch in January. But since January, I think we've this whole quarter has been like 500% growth in terms of volume traded. And we've tripled our participants that are on it. Each month is better than the last.
On the buy side too? Was the buy side growing?
Well, you have to have the buy side, right? So like we have a couple of good partners that have joined. We've put together some programs to incentivize market makers. Like for me, like I come from a market structure background, so I know, like an efficient market needs a diverse set of participants. So that's been heavily my focus. We're actually hiring a couple of people right now that we're going to bring on to focus on, the institutional side to even further that liquidity. Like right now, we could comfortably do 500 petahash aside, which is pretty big.
Yeah.
But we need to get into the exahash conversation, and I think we'll be there by mid-year.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So one of the things I wanted to ask is how do you guys define success of your efforts in the derivative side?
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's a couple ways, right? Like the main goal is to provide a tool for people to hedge. So success is having a liquid market with tight spreads where you can come in and you want to hedge 30 days out or, 12 months out. Like that's success to me. Like having a robust market. Obviously like there's revenue that you can associate with that too, but like that comes with the volume. So success for us is having a robust market that's deep and liquid and, the tool.
Mm-hmm.
I like it, man. It's a big deal.
Do companies like moving forward, if this becomes it just blows up, right? Do miners need to have somebody that's like kind of like a liaison to you guys on the hedging side, or is that something that's more like it's turnkey and you guys are kind of like helping them providing him with the tools. It's understand that I don't know shit about derivatives or trading like that. So like, I'm just curious.
Like a finance guy.
Yeah. So to extrapolate, you're saying like, is it approachable or do you need somebody with the expertise?
Yeah.
And like, so it's a bit of both right now. Like a lot of our efforts are educational right now. So like a vast majority of my time is talking to miners and explaining, what is hedging and what is a forward and like, how can you use this to, manage your risk? And I do that for the 1 petahash trader all the way up to the public miner. But like, I think you're seeing this evolution that's occurring where the energy folks are coming in, like I talked about, they already have the trading desk and the knowledge. Some of the public miners I've seen are hiring these people or, they have them in-house already. And then, like the mid-tier miners, I think you're either educating themselves or hiring. So I think it's coming.
That's a good point. Cause like outside of the energy industry, I don't know, and I could be wrong, but I just don't know how much hedging there is in other industries outside of energy. So,
I mean, like any commodity, I would compare this to any commodity industry, except it's like a baby compared to like the oil and like the agriculture industry. Hedging started in like the mid 1800s in Chicago.
Really?
Yeah.
Chicago? Really?
Yeah. So like that's the genesis of the Chicago Board of Trade is farmers used to meet in Chicago with the dealers, and farmers would bring their crop, the dealers would show up and they would like haggle over prices. But like sometimes like you'd have a bumper crop, right? And you'd have all these farmers with just a shitload of crop and the dealers would be like, no, can't pay for all of it. And prices would plummet.
Right. And
then so the farmers would be like, well, we don't have any price certainty on this. And anything that they had left over would just go to waste. And so basically what they decided was, all right, let's decide on prices prior to harvest. And we'll meet and we'll like write these numbers on a chalkboard and we'll agree. And then when it comes time, we know the price and we know the quantity and everyone's happy. And that's basically how the forward market was born. Yeah.
Okay. Well, then but I think for the mining industry, most of the people that come in that have a hedging background are energy folks. And there's probably not a lot of farmers or other people from like other crop commodities that are probably coming into the space at the same level that energy folks are. So
no,
yeah, that's probably
there's no farmers coming in.
Right,
Bitcoin.
My family's dairy farmers, and they don't know what the hell I do. So they're not. Like, I don't know about that. Well, I don't understand what's mining. How does that work? Are you digging these up? I'm like, no.
Yeah, no. My dad's a former trader, and he has no idea what I'm doing.
Really? Yes. Seriously? What did they think when you like, hey, I'm leaving this to go get?
I went from like a cushy, like very secure government job to a Bitcoin miner. I mean, it's great for me. My parents are like, what are you doing?
Yeah, you're throwing your life away.
You have kids. What are you doing?
What do your kids think of it?
Oh, my kids love it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the inverse. Like I had this boring ass job where they're like, man, he works for a regulator. I can't tell my friends that. Right. And now I work for a Bitcoin mining company. Like my son, we have a couple miners. Like he monitors all mining activity.
That's a great idea. I need to have my son do that.
My dad sends him checks once a year, and he just puts it all into Bitcoin.
Nice. How old is he?
He's 13.
Oh, okay. My son's 11. He's about to be 12. I'm going to get him doing that.
Yeah, he loves it. I mean, we have, we keep all of ours on like a Ledger wallet, so he just watches it.
Yeah. That's cool, man. Yeah, that's awesome.
The Luxor mining app too, so it's all great.
Oh, that's cool. What did your wife think when you let her know you wanted to?
I don't know. She knew I was pretty miserable at the regulatory place, and like I was ready to take. I wouldn't say a risk, but I was ready to move on. So yeah, she's cool with it.
Yeah, that's good, man. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah,
it is. Well, what is next for Luxor? Is there any other platforms they got coming out? And like,
I mean, like the company in general.
Yeah, the company in general. Like,
I don't know how much more we could do, but
yeah, I know. Seriously,
you guys are already doing it all,
right? Yeah, you got an Ordinals site.
Ordinals are taking off.
Okay,
we're devoting a lot of effort to Ordinals. Firmware, you had the firmware guys in here recently. I think they're working pretty diligently on expanding the application of that elsewhere. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, to us, I think we got to kind of focus on these like 5 verticals that we have right now and really knock them out of the park. But yeah.
Are you guys doing much education events? I know you mentioned education, but like, how are you reaching the groups to kind of educate them on the derivatives market?
Yeah, so I've been
platform, I guess.
I've been hitting the road pretty heavy.
Have you?
Yeah, doing a fair amount of podcasts, going to conferences, doing doing webinars. I'm on a panel at BTC 23.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just like, just going out and talking. I'm so sick of hearing my own voice. And like, I was like, oh man, I'm going to switch up my pitch for this thing. Like, I can't do it again.
Oh, dude, every time I listen to ours, I'm like, do I sound like that? I sound like Kermit the Frog with a
you sound
sinus infection.
You sound cooler than I do.
It's like, wow, really? This is terrible.
I was laughing at, like, I was listening to your podcast. And I was laughing at how you're like always fucking up the beginning.
Yeah, usually. This was like the best one I did, I think.
No, you did great.
Welcome to the podcast.
So we're doing another.
Yeah, you did that one. Like, I was listening just this morning, the most recent one with Lisa, and you're like, I got it right.
Yeah, no, we're not restarting this one. Yeah, because somebody cut some shit out in the hallway. It was real loud, but I think you guys got it cut out of there. So.
Yeah.
I also I listened to the one where you had mentioned something about being into Chat GPT.
Oh yeah,
dude, I've been using that so much lately. That is incredible.
So I got this. So I had this brainstorm when I was coming here today. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to type in like a few keywords about you. We don't have to read it now, but I want to share it with you. So I typed in Jake Corley, Malort, and hash rate hedging. And it's spit out this awesome story.
Oh my gosh.
Write a short story about Jake Corley.
Can we not read it?
We gotta read it here. Let's see.
It's so good. It starts off kind of slow and it just builds this amazing story.
I think I should read it about you.
Okay, yeah.
No,
let's hear Kermit read it.
All right, Kermit. Kermit here. All right. I already like how it started. Jake Corley was a man of risk. He liked to take chances, to live on the edge, and to push the limits. That's why he decided to start his own Bitcoin mining operation in the first place. He poured all of his savings into building a state-of-the-art mining rig and buying the best equipment available. It wasn't long before he was mining Bitcoins like a pro.
Damn, like a pro.
But Jake knew that success in the world of Bitcoin mining wasn't just about having the best equipment. It was about hedging your bets, and that's why he started looking into hash rate derivatives. Well done, Jake. Way to think ahead, buddy.
GPT's so smart.
It's so smart.
It's scary.
It is scary, man.
I know.
These financial instruments allowed him to hedge his mining operation against fluctuations in the Bitcoin market by locking in a certain amount of hash rate at a fixed price. Good job, dude. Way to think ahead.
I know.
Like it. So good. It starts getting crazy soon.
Of course, hedging your bets wasn't always easy. Sometimes it meant taking risks, and that's where Jake's love of Malort came in. Malort was a notorious bitter liquor. It was popular in Chicago, where Jake was from. He loved the taste and he loved the feeling of taking a shot of Malort before making a big decision. I get that now. I want to take two. One night, after a long day of mining and hedging, long night of hedging.
That's my favorite. Long night of hedging.
It's the long day.
Hedging away.
I've been mining and hedging all day. I need some Malort.
I love that line.
One night, after a long day of mining and hedging, Jake found himself staring at a spreadsheet full of numbers. He took a deep breath and poured himself a shot of Malort. He downed it in one gulp and then looked at the numbers again. They were daunting, but he knew that he had to make a decision. Jake took another shot of Ballard and then made his move. He locked in a large hash rate derivative contract, betting on the price of Bitcoin to rise in the coming months. It was a risky move, but Jake was confident in his abilities as a miner and hedger. Over the next few weeks, Jake watched as the price of Bitcoin fluctuated wildly. Some days it was up, and other days it was down.
It's the truth.
But thanks to his hash rate derivatives, he was protected from the worst of the volatility. And thanks to his mining operation, he was still making a profit even when the price of Bitcoin was low. In the end, Jake's bet paid off. The price of Bitcoin rose steadily, and his hash rate derivatives allowed him to lock in a profit. He celebrated with another shot of Malort and a toast to the power of risk-taking and hedging. Boom.
Wow, ChatGPT.
I mean, I literally put like 4 words.
And that's what it came up with?
Yeah.
ChatGPT.
I'm never writing that.
Chicago Jake sounds like an alcoholic.
Chicago.
But his Bitcoin mining operation sounds pretty legit.
And he's an awesome risk taker. Way to go, Chicago Jake.
I don't think people realize how game changing ChatGPT actually is. Like scary. It's a step change. It's like you went from like not having internet to like not having ChatGPT to having ChatGPT is insane. And then in the last 12 hours, I don't know if y'all have heard of Midjourney. I've been playing around with Midjourney.
Okay,
Midjourney is generative AI. So prompting with text and generating images. Let me show you guys.
Oh, so yeah, that's the limitation in ChatGPT. I try to get an image of you, and now it's all text.
All right. So have you guys ever watched Wes Anderson movies?
Oh, it's my favorite.
Yeah. So like the Grand Budapest Hotel, the
Royal Tenenbaums, Life Aquatic.
Royal Tenenbaums.
So I said, let's put this to the test, right? I said, let's name some famous oil men, but let's put them in a Wes Anderson movie.
I love it.
Okay. So here's Aubrey McClendon, founder and CEO, Chesapeake.
Dude, it made this? Holy cow.
Wow, you got like the whole like tone and everything.
It's
the colors.
Crazy. Did you have to put in Aubrey McClendon?
I did. Okay. I did. And I told her I wanted it to be a movie still. I told her like stylish costume outfit, dude, all that.
That is so freaking crazy.
Okay, so that's one example.
Okay. Harold
Hamm, CEO of Continental Resources, also the same thing.
Wow.
Yeah, he's got the
suit makes it.
Yeah. It's like in the background, you're like, oh, this is obviously Ken Lay from Enron.
That's freaking awesome.
Yeah. T. Boone Pickens.
Ooh, it's gonna be good.
Does it pop right up?
It will generate this in about 45 seconds.
That's insane.
And it doesn't generate one; it generates four variations.
And you just pick it.
And then below that, you can say, I want to upscale one of these, or I want to do 4 more variants of this. And so there's 8 buttons, actually 9 buttons underneath. Or you can just say, redo all of it. I don't like any of it.
Yeah.
It all takes place in Discord. So it's actually a Discord bot, right? And then you can also see publicly. So I was doing these privately on a different server, but you can see publicly what everybody's doing in the chats, and you can see the results and you see what they're prompting. So you can learn very, very quickly how to get the results that you want. Here's John D. Rockefeller.
That is freaking crazy.
It's absolutely nuts. So yeah, guys, go check out Midjourney.
Midjourney.
All right. It doesn't just do people; it can do cars too. So
that is so.
I said, give me a Porsche 911 outside of a fancy sushi restaurant. That's what it came up with. And then, so in the studio next to here, we have a green screen room. So we're doing some stuff where we're using the green screen. You need nice like backgrounds that look kind of like rooms. And so I've had it generate rooms from like it would be a Christopher Nolan Batman movie.
Dude, I'm totally stealing that.
In a penthouse.
Right? We can design stuff.
So it can do anything graphically you can imagine.
I don't think you're getting weird enough.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of.
I'm just worried that they can see it publicly. Like I don't want anybody to see what I want to put in there.
Well, you can copy the bot and then go to your own private server and you can put in.
See how weird we can make this.
Yeah. Dude, that is incredible.
Yeah,
that's freaking crazy.
It's absolutely. I've only been playing with it for about 12 hours. I've gotten pretty good.
I can't believe
about 12 hours. Too. Oh, it's insane. And there's even some that are even more realistic than that, to where it's like hyper photorealistic images from like, it could be modern day, it could be 1940, right?
So wild.
But think about this as a lawyer, right?
Oh my God.
Right?
Yeah.
Now somebody generates an image of you killing somebody or like as in like evidence, and then you get into the court of law and you're like, well,
fakes.
It's obviously you killing somebody, and it's like, no, that's not me. I didn't do it.
I've thought about that so many times. Like to tell what's real and what's fake now is almost impossible.
It's like a new profession.
Right. Like that, I think about it with court all the time. Like, what is going to be admissible? And like, the level of like those videos where you have the guy that's talking like he's Morgan Freeman. It sounds exactly like Morgan Freeman.
Looks like him.
It looks exactly like him. Like
those new Drake songs that are going viral that are all AI. Have you heard of that? Yeah, it's like freaking everybody out.
It's wild, man. But if I'm an artist, I'm a singer, a rapper, whatever. Like, they can. I heard one. What's the DJ did one with Eminem, and he just took Eminem's voice, like put it in there, and it made a whole song. And dude, it's just like Eminem. The song was dope. And I'm like, this is freaking crazy. How is this gonna work? Like, I don't know. It's gonna open a freaking Pandora's box of shitstorm.
It's like Elon and those other guys are like, hey, we got to stop this for like 6 months. Yeah, it's too late.
Yeah, it's too late. You're
not putting that back. Cat's out of the bag.
Yeah, they didn't.
Well, I think what's crazy is it's how quickly it's developing.
Right.
And then also, like, I'm looking at like my current workflow and like how quickly ChatGPT has now become a staple in my workflow, as with everybody else in the team.
Yeah. And
then we all get together, we share our findings of like how it's working and how it's not.
How
like,
quick people adapt to technology and make it literally part of their life. Like this is. It's like 10 days or something, I think, is like how long it takes humans to like adapt to like new stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where it becomes almost like
it's instant.
Like my kids, they use it for my daughter. I'm sure she's used it for like homework. You know what I mean? Every kid was doing that. I don't want to get her in trouble, but No one listens to our show anyway.
I think there's a lot of people there are certain jobs that I think they can be replaced, but after playing with ChatGPT for a while and then now this Midjourney thing, I have a hypothesis, right? So say me and you both want to prompt ChatGPT on legal framework for Bitcoin. Right. Who's going to do it better, you or me? You are, because you have domain expertise and you're knowing exactly what to prompt. It's the same thing with Midjourney, to where if I was going to go head to head with a graphic designer, they know stylistically the terms and what they're wanting to accomplish, where I would have to research what I want to accomplish and what to call it in order to figure out what I want to prompt. So you're only going to be amplifying somebody's natural abilities.
Right. And I got to believe there's some limit. Like I've thought about with the legal profession, is like, yeah, you could go in there and have it like, type me up a contract for XYZ and put in some prompts, and it could get you to a certain level, but you couldn't, I don't see how it could go into the intricate details of a specific deal, because there's different parts to everything.
Well, it's interesting.
You know what I mean?
I was thinking about this exact topic, because like for our business, the derivatives business, like if we're going to onboard somebody, they have to sign what's called an ISDA contract. That stands for International Swaps and Derivatives Association. But it's basically like this long ass 30-page legal document, right? Which takes a degree just to read it and understand it. And I was like, oh, I wonder if I could just have ChatGPT write like a ISDA for dummies. But, you know, like there's going to be nuance in there that doesn't cover somebody from a legal perspective. So I tend to agree with you.
Well, ChatGPT 4 actually somebody uploaded the Ethereum contract and asked them how to exploit it and what the vulnerabilities in it, and it walked through the entire contract and not only pointed out the vulnerabilities in the contract, but it gave step-by-step instructions of how to exploit it.
I can see that because it's a contract, and it could find the holes. I could see that. I still just don't see how they're going to get it to a point though to write it specific, because like it's pulling data of past things, right? And I know it can analyze things for the future, but like, you have to prompt it to do the specific things for that contract. So drafting side, it's
I'm
too
much.
Sure somebody will come up with something eventually, but like, I don't see how you.
Well, so you do have the ability to. So currently, the main model that most people have access to doesn't have access to the internet. That's changing. It's changing with plugins, and there's also a new browsing feature where it's actually going to be able to go out and find.
Yeah, that's when it gets scary.
Yeah, that's when it starts to get really, really scary, like actual information. So there's a cutoff now. It's like, I don't know anything past like December 21 or something like that, right? But if you have the patience and you learn how to prompt it, you can load in massive data sets and amounts of information about something specifically. So I was loading up oil and gas information specifically of like just teaching it highly technical stuff and seeing like what were the limitations here and how much would it remember. And then could I take all of that and craft it into a very complex story, right? I've been talking about uploading entire investor relations presentations that companies spend millions of dollars
in there
and loading them up and saying, hey, if I was going to go to this company and create a docu-series out of their investor relations deck, what would it look like? And it does not forget a single thing. And so it's not just like, what does it have access to and what does it know? It's like, what can you teach it?
Wow.
Man, that's so crazy.
So you could upload a ton of maybe specific information around certain kinds of deals or get everything that was in your head into there. And then you never have to teach that again. And then guess what? You can do all your work for you.
I should do that for what we're doing. I'll just be like, all right, I'll go talk to a public miner. I'll pull up their 10K and have ChatGPT write a hedging strategy for them. Just like, hey, here you go, man.
He won't do that.
I'm totally kidding.
Yes.
Totally kidding. You're smart enough to do your own.
Yes, right. But it is scary. Like the where you could see that going. It feels like to me like every now and then I get in this like metaphysics kind of thought process about just the universe, right?
Yeah.
And you get to ultimately this point where it's like your mind explodes because you're like,
it's too much.
It's too much. Like it just, you feel it. You know, at least I do. I'm like, oh gosh, dude, this is freaking crazy.
You know what you need?
This feels the same way. I need what?
Malort.
I need Malort.
Yeah, Malort.
Yeah.
You need 7 shots of Malort, and it'll help your thinking process.
I'm going to write a story about myself drinking Malort and thinking about the universe and metaphysics to see what it comes up on.
I like it.
That'd be fun. I'm going to go on a freaking ChatGPT bender. Can't wait.
I'm going to see if Midjourney knows what Malort is. I'm going to see if I can prompt it while we're sitting here.
Midjourney Malort. Yeah. Well, I really like this platform, which you guys have put together. I think that it's the start of what will ultimately bring in like real high level institutional money and kind of make mining a mainstream investment vehicle for all kinds of groups. But because honestly, like when Ryan and I used to pitch Jay, when we were going around pitching, trying to raise money at Jay, we talked to a lot of like oil and gas companies. Well, everybody was interested at the time because Bitcoin was ripping and all that. But the one hang up constantly was, well, how do we lock in our profits?
Well,
right?
That's exactly right.
It's the same thing always. And it was always like, oh, you buy futures on CME and all that. It was basically what Chuck's saying.
Well, that's the thing. You can't just go into it saying I'm going to hedge with Bitcoin.
Right.
Like,
right.
I mean, if you go back to like the oil and gas sector, right? Like you wouldn't go try and get financing without showing them that you had, hedged out 60% of your production or whatever the number is, right? Like they'd laugh you out of the room. They've
been burned by, by commodity prices.
100% for decades, right? Like there's like this wealth of background experience where they know that hedging, makes sense over time, right? Like hedging during a bull run, that sucks.
But it sucks.
It sucks, right? But like
safe during the bad
you're
time.
Still solvent, you know? And like, like mature commodities industries have learned a lesson. This space is 14 years old.
And on a scalable mining side, like big money coming in, it's much younger. You're talking maybe 7 years. And it's like
if that.
So I agree. It's like now this is the first bear market where you've seen publicly companies get destroyed. You know what I mean?
No, that's true.
And so this is the learning time, and that's what you guys' timing on this is perfect.
Well, I'd like to say it was by design, but it was just kind of happened that way.
Right. But it was like recognizing the issue during a bull run, right? I'm sure they started thinking about this during
They definitely thought about it during the bull run.
Right.
They hired me. Actually, I think I started the day of the Luna crash.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's going back to like my parents. When you ask what my parents thought, literally,
what are you doing?
Oh, dude, it was nuts. It was like day one, Nick Hansen, our CEO, flew out to Chicago and he's like, hey, I'm going to pick you up and we're going to go down to Hennepin to check out the site, which is in like central Illinois, where like our mining operation was. I'm like, oh, sweet. So like literally day one, we're driving down there, and as we're driving down there, like all the Luna news is coming out and like Bitcoin's tanking and like all this shit was happening. I was like, oh my God, what have I done?
Your parents are like, you idiot.
They totally were like, it took them a couple of days for the news to get to them, but like, they're like, what's going on with Bitcoin?
Yeah. Are you okay?
I'm like, hey man, like oil markets crash too.
Right. Man. Oh gosh. I'm so glad you said that. Cause like that, every time there's any type of bad news, my family is calling, are you okay? I'm like, number one, I'm a lawyer and I'm at a law firm. We don't just do Bitcoin. So yes, I'm okay.
Yeah.
But do you understand this is literally, it's like when we were dairy farmers, it's like the milk prices. You know what I mean? It goes up and goes down.
No, for sure. It's a commodity.
Right.
Man.
Right.
Like,
so you deal with it.
Yeah.
You know what
I mean, it might be more extreme than others, but the truth is like markets go up and down.
Right.
Right. Like, you just got to be
part
prepared.
Of it. Right. Right. Did you get that?
So here's what I typed. Here's an image, or here's 4 images of me, aka Brad Pitt, looking at a computer screen, hedging his Bitcoin mining hash rate while drinking a bottle of Ballard.
Oh man, this is gonna be great.
That is incredible. What?
That's great.
Oh,
it's insane.
Yeah,
it's absolutely insane.
You got to send me that picture. I'm gonna put it with this story, and I'm gonna post it on our derivatives blog.
And then that's an NFT.
Yeah, it's an ordinal actually.
It's an ordinal. Man, that's incredible.
I just had to rewrite it, so let's see what the next one coming up. I'm just curious if it like did anything differently.
What did you change on it?
Oh, I just said rerun the whole thing. So then here's the next 4 that it came up with.
Oh my gosh, that is so crazy. That is crazy. If you put your own name, will it pull like Jake Corley?
You can put your own image in there.
Yeah.
I haven't.
Why'd it give you a hat?
I haven't perfected that.
Yeah. It just makes
Brad Pitt just wears a lot of hats in movies, I guess. I don't know.
Man, that's incredible.
And interesting that you picked Brad Pitt for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, if I'm going to be somebody in this story, it should be Brad Pitt, probably. So
Oh man, that's awesome, man. I freaking love that stuff. I gotta go play with that one.
Yeah.
It's addicting.
My
It's so
son
addicting because
will
I'm like,
freaking
what can
lose
you
his
think
mind.
of?
I know.
My daughter started doing this like bleach art on t-shirts.
Mhm.
That's freaking sick. I should show you guys a picture of that. Like, man,
sounds fun.
incredible one. Yeah.
What's your daughter?
She's 16.
I got a
And-
16-year-old too.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. She's super hipster, like
Nice.
super hipster. If she's really into music and art, and she says like Deftones and like a lot of heavy stuff and like Tool and Korn, and I took her
Tool
like,
and Deftones.
yeah,
Nice.
I took her. To
She's like, Dad, you wouldn't get it.
She does.
You wouldn't get
She
it,
does.
Dad.
She's like, you don't understand it. I'm like, yes, I do. I'm 42 years old. This is actually, I know, this is exactly what I understand. All right, but yeah, she has really gotten into art, and I told her, I'm like, we need to. It was super dope. It's like a spine with like a pelvic on it, and it looks freaking incredible. She took,
Sounds cool.
yeah, and I was like, we got to make a Bitcoin t-shirt. She's like, oh gosh, I'm gonna make Bitcoin. Of course, I'm like, you don't understand. We're making some of these t-shirts.
Yeah.
These will be freaking.
They like sell like
They'll be
hotcakes.
they'll sell so good. They're super dope. So I'll show you the picture.
Do it, man.
Bad, dude. That's super bad.
Sell them at Power next year.
I know.
Let's do it.
Seriously. Oh, that's a good idea too. Good job. I'll cut you in on it.
All right, cool.
Cut you in on it.
Matt, thanks for making the journey down.
Dude.
Thanks for the Malord. Thanks for the story. I'm excited to hear what you guys are working on.
Yeah. No, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
It's been great.
No, I'm super, we love Luxor. Love you guys coming on every single time. It's been a really good episode.
It's been a blast, man.
Yeah. This
Okay.
is great.
Yeah, we'll bring like 5 more people next time.
Yeah. I'm like, is there anybody else that works at Luxor? How's that been? When you get
I think we've had the entire staff on it.
Nick and Ethan, we gotta get.
Yeah, we can get them on.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll make that
Ethan's
happen.
too cool though, man. He's living in Miami now, right?
Yeah, he's pretty cool. He's in Austin right now, though.
Oh, is it for?
Yeah.
Is he over there for consensus? Yeah. Okay.
I'm going over there tomorrow and see this.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wanting to go. The Mawson dudes are over there. We were gonna celebrate a little bit. It's my week with kids though. I'm not gonna be able to make
What
it.
are you gonna do?
So,
You'll be all right.
yeah, I'll party some other time.
Yeah.
But thank you, Matt.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, man.
Thanks, guys.
It was great.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.